Rare are the moments that truly stop you where you stand, when you attempt to process news that doesn't compute and still doesn't. Welcome to SportsCenter. I'm Scott Van Pelt. Sunday was one of those days. Kobe Bryant has died in a helicopter crash at the age of 41. There were 9 people lost to the crash, including Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. Throughout this hour, reactions from around the sports world to the stunning news. The crash occurred in foggy conditions in the hills above Calabasas, California, just north of Los Angeles. Flight records indicate the Sikorsky S-76B helicopter was approximately 40 minutes into its flight when the crash occurred. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva said 9 people were on board the helicopter, which burst into flames when it crashed. Reactions begin with the man to whom Bryant was so often compared, Michael Jordan. I'm in shock over the tragic news of Kobe and Gianna's passing. Words can't describe the pain I am feeling. I loved Kobe. He was like a little brother to me. We used to talk often, and I will miss those conversations very much. He was a fierce competitor, one of the greats of the game, and a creative force. Kobe was also an amazing dad who loved his family deeply and took great pride in his daughter's love for the game of basketball. Yvette joins me in sending my deepest condolences to Vanessa, the Lakers organization, and basketball fans around the world. Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe's teammate for 8 seasons, 3 titles, took to Instagram for the following statement. There are no words to express the pain I'm going through now with this tragic and sad moment of losing my niece Gigi, my friend, my brother, my partner in winning championships, my dude and my homie. I love you, and you will be missed. My condolences goes out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now. Phil Jackson was Kobe's head coach for 11 seasons in Los Angeles, released the following statement. The crash was a tragedy for multiple families. My heart goes out to Vanessa and the families that lost loved ones. Kobe was a chosen one, special in many ways to many people. Our relationship as coach-player transcended the norm. He went beyond the veil. Of course, last night in Philadelphia, LeBron James passed Kobe Bryant on the all-time scoring list, moving up to 3rd. Bryant's father was a 76er for a number of years. Kobe grew up playing in the Philly suburbs, so the moment felt more cosmically appropriate than in a random city with no ties. Kobe Bryant taking to Twitter just last night, tweeting out, continuing to move the game forward at King James. Much respect, my brother. After the loss last night in Philly, the Lakers arrived back in California Sunday morning. An emotional scene, as you might imagine. James wiping away tears and sharing a long embrace on the tarmac as he left the plane. Around the day in the NBA, players trying to figure out what to do. There was talk that maybe games wouldn't be played. You see Jamal Murray finding out pregame. Rockets and Nuggets, a moment of silence prior to the game.
A tragedy has befallen the world of basketball. Earlier today, at the age of 41, Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash. The NBA and the game of basketball will mourn this loss together. Please join us in a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Mamba.
Austin Rivers, emotion palpable, Tyson Chandler as well. Meanwhile, in the Raptors-Spurs game, this was what began really the trend of the day, moving. 24-second violations for both teams. Assistant Becky Hammond and Tim Duncan in tears on the Spurs bench. The Pelicans and Celtics game, they would remember Bryant and daughter Gianna. Pelicans, a moment of silence, which was 24.8 seconds, honoring both those jersey numbers. And those numbers were seen on the sneakers of many of the players, their own personal remembrances. And at the start of that game, taking the lead from the Spurs and the Raptors from earlier in the day. More remembrances. And Kemba Walker motions with his hands, 24 for Kobe. Most of the stars in the game have had big moments in Madison Square Garden. Kobe no different, and they were lighting it up in purple and yellow as the Knicks and Nets took to the floor. They too took violations as the fans in the Garden stood and cheered. Lakers jerseys all across arenas around the league on this Sunday. And then the Knicks took their turn. Among those in attendance, Spike Lee, the emotional Kenny Atkinson, the Nets head coach. Wizards and Hawks, Trae Young, an emotional Bradley Beal. Trae, Gigi Bryant's favorite player. He wore number 8 in honor of Kobe and took an 8-second backcourt violation. Wizards would take the shot clock violation, and then during the game, less than 5 seconds to go in the second, Trae's got some range, we know that, but sometimes you wonder how it all comes together. Hits that bucket. Rest in peace, Kobe. League came together to honor one of the greats of all time and then did their best to remember.
You know, I just don't have a lot to say. The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, who've known him a long time. And, you know, he means a lot to me, obviously. You know, he was such a great opponent, you know. It's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have. You know, the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans, you know.
You can see a man who was such a fierce competitor at peace when he was sitting there, when he sits there courtside now, because it's not the Mamba competing against whoever. It's dad teaching his daughter how to, the ins and outs of the game and how he sees it and how she can learn to break the game down. That's what I saw, and I think that's what a lot of people can see, and I think that's where it catches the basketball world off guard more than anything, because we all saw it. And for those of us who played against him, who knew him, I think that's what kind of is gut-wrenching more than anything, because of his happiness, because of that conversation I had with him telling me, he's like, I'm at peace, I'm happy, I'm at my happiest.
Today is one of the saddest days in my lifetime. It seems like a bad dream that you just want to wake up from. It's a nightmare. I know we all feel the same way about such a great leader, just a great champion. He's a great person. If you got a chance to know Kobe, you got a chance to really know Kobe. Ain't nobody better, man. Kobe, thank you, man. Thank you for all the memories. We got a lot of good ones. And these tears that we're crying, we're going to miss you. And it's not going to go. It's not leaving today. A week from now, a month from now, a year from now, we will forever miss you, man. You're our legend. You're our icon. You're our father. You're a husband. Your son, your brother. Your friend. Thank you for being my friend. I love you, brother.
Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes. He was one of the first ones to leave high school and come into the NBA and do so well, dominating the game and becoming one of the best scorers that the Los Angeles Lakers has ever seen. I had the privilege of being there when he scored his 81-point game, and it was something that I will always remember as one of the highlights of the things that I have learned and observed in sports. Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss is, it's just hard to comprehend.
I'm just devastated by this news. And to watch him transform his life and career from this iconic player to have an enormous career in the media business, and to see him with his young kids, his young daughters, the joy that was in their eyes looking at their father, who obviously they loved, to the attention he paid to them, to his getting involved in promoting women's basketball. This was a man for all seasons. He was more than an iconic basketball player. He was someone who inspired millions of fans, not here in this state, not here in the United States, all over the world.
Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, with this statement: the NBA family is devastated by the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. For 20 seasons, Kobe showed us what is possible when remarkable talent blends with an absolute devotion to winning. He was one of the most extraordinary players in the history of our game, with accomplishments that are legendary. 5 NBA championships, an NBA MVP award, 18 NBA All-Star selections, and 2 Olympic gold medals. But he will be remembered most for inspiring people around the world to pick up a basketball and compete to the very best of their ability. He was generous with the wisdom he acquired and saw it as his mission to share it with future generations of players, taking special delight in passing down his love of the game to Gianna. We send our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Vanessa, and their family, the Lakers organization, and the entire sports world. Stephen A. Smith joins us now. And Stephen A., as we see the icon himself, Jerry West, the logo in tears, you understand the gravity and the weight of this. This is a young man that you began to cover as a high schooler, who you saw become a star and a retired and very comfortable, happy man in life. As you try to make sense of it at this late hour, where are you right now with this?
Where everybody else is, complete devastation. To know Kobe the way that a lot of us did, to know his brilliance, to know his intellect, to know his commitment to excellence, and the fact that he wanted to motivate and inspire just a generation of people to be of a similar ilk. To see him gone at the age of 41, knowing that he had so much life ahead of him, it's just devastating. And when you think about it, I mean, he and I were together on New Year's Eve. We were partying together on New Year's Eve, actually. That's the last time I saw him. We were supposed to meet a few weeks from now. He was talking about, a life that was just getting started. So many times we see professional athletes and there is a struggle to try and to capture what life is going to be like beyond their playing days. This was an individual that was looking forward to the end, at least a couple of years at the very least, before it had all come to an end, because he was planning and plotting a new path for his life. He wanted to be an inspiration to his wonderful 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, who obviously passed away in the helicopter crash with him. He was telling guys like Jay-Z and others, wait until you see her play. She is something special. Obviously, his other 3 children, he obviously was absolutely in love with. Of course, his wife, Vanessa, he was in love with her. And he was looking forward to a life. He had already captured an Academy Award. And his mentality was, we're just getting started. He was doing Detail, his project for ESPN Plus and beyond. He had so many things that he was planning and looking forward to. And he talked about that with me constantly whenever we talked. And so this was not a guy that was struggling to find what his new path was going to be now that his career had ended after the 2016 season. He had prospered from that point forward. He was on a mission to continue to prosper and to ultimately show that the life that he enjoyed and he endured in those 20 years in a Lakers uniform, it would be something comparable to what he had accomplished as a basketball player. The greatness that you saw on the basketball court was definitely going to be a level of greatness that you saw in some other platform. And in the process of doing all of that, he was going to inspire folks across the world to be all that they could be and to make the sacrifices and to put in whatever effort was necessary to put in order to achieve your goal. It was something he had preached to me personally. It's something that I know he had preached to a number of people. And that's why all of us sit here devastated today, because to be at age 21 as brilliant and as gifted as he was, full of life and so much to live for. And so many people who loved him and appreciated him. To see him gone today is nothing short of devastating. It truly is.
I share that sentiment, and especially, Stephen A., I'm marveled at the passion that he was investing in the next chapter. So many struggle to figure it out. Not only did he find it, but he was thriving in it. And he looked at people like Magic or MJ as what they became afterwards. He had his sights set on the Jay-Z's and the Oprahs. He'd be a billionaire with a B. And I mean, those paths seemed like they were available to him. He was pouring himself into it. And I think it's just so gutting to think of what might have been. Do you believe that perhaps his best act would have been his next act?
Possibly, quite possibly. It's hard to imagine, considering the fact that he's a 5-time champion, right, and 18-time All-Star and what have you. But what I can tell you as a point of fact is that he believed the best was yet to come. He wasn't somebody that dwelled on the past and said, look at what I accomplished, I'm finished. That wasn't his thing. His attitude was, I've got a whole life to live, so let me go out there and conquer new challenges. That was what it was about. When he saw me on New Year's Eve, he was congratulating me on my new contract with ESPN. His exact words to me is 1 + 1 = $1 billion. That was his mentality to anybody who had any kind of potential. Go for it all. That was what he believed in, and that was what he was all about. He looked at Jay-Z and he told Jay-Z, wait until you see my daughter play basketball. She is something special. And that's why when he came out just days ago and he alluded to how there's about 2 or 3 players that can play in the NBA, it wasn't him speaking in a literal context. It was him sending a message to his daughter. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve. You can achieve whatever you put your mind to. Don't let anybody on this planet Earth think for 1 second that they could hold you back. Don't you allow anybody to hold you back. The world is yours. The sky is the limit. Go for it. And that was the mentality that he had, not just as a basketball player. Remember, he was bilingual. He spoke 3 languages, Italian, Spanish, and English, very, very fluently. He once joked with me that he would be speaking German in short order. These are the kind of things that he talked about, and he didn't see any limitations to his potential whatsoever, and he didn't want anybody around him that saw limitations to themselves. If you came to him and you had limitations in your mind and in your heart, he would immediately and instantly check you and let you know, how dare you put limitations upon yourself. You living, you're breathing, you got all the potential in the world. Go for it. And that was the kind of message that he was hell-bent on sending to his daughters. It was obviously an adage that he followed. He firmly believed in it. He preached it to LeBron and D-Wade and all of those guys when they were in Beijing in the 2008 Olympics and beyond. This is why you see so many people crying and so many people so upset that he's gone, because they know what he did for them. They know what he did for their lives. I was on the phone with Shaquille O'Neal just a few hours ago, and he was crying. Magic Johnson couldn't hold back tears. The list just goes on and on. People are either crying, they're speechless, or they're both, because we know that we lost an iconic figure. And Jerry West, speaking as eloquently as he spoke, with his eyes bloodshot red as they can be, clearly crying a lot today. We all understand where he's coming from, because anybody that knew Kobe Bryant spent some time crying today, including myself.
Stephen A., time's our most precious commodity. We appreciate you sharing some with us. Our hour here, the 2 hours you have on First Take tomorrow, not enough to cover it all, but I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the morning. I appreciate you being with us tonight, sir. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you.